Hey everyone, my name is Veronica and I am the health and wellness coach here at Portage Family Healing Center, as well as the grief group support leader. A little bit about myself before we get started on today's topic. I am from Traverse City, born and raised. I now live in Kalamazoo. When I was 19, I went to the Marine Corps. By the time I was 24, I met my husband, and shortly after, we both got out of the Marine Corps and moved to Maryland, his home state. We stayed there for a couple years, and we were really unhappy there, so we moved back to my home state in Michigan, and now I reside in Kalamazoo. That was back in August of 2018, and unfortunately, my husband suffered greatly from PTSD and succumbed to his own demons in that November of 2018. And then 2 months later, I had our daughter. So that's always kind of a shock to tell people. I know it's not anything anybody wants to hear. I certainly don't like telling that story, but it's brought me to where I am today. And I say that because the topic for today is health and wellness through sustainability. This year I just recently started working, so I was at home for about 4 years with my daughter, which was really great. I am so glad I had the opportunity to stay home with her. I know a lot of mothers can't, and I feel very grateful that I was able to. But during those 4 years, I really wanted to focus on my own healing. I did see a therapist for a while at the VA. We have a really good relationship, but I wouldn't say that she tried to push medication on me, but she always suggested it, and I didn't want it for a long time. And about 2 years in, after my husband passed away, I finally caved and requested some medication because I thought it might help. But unfortunately, about a year later, I realized that it really wasn't helping. My emotions were becoming too subdued, if you will. I had no emotion whatsoever. So I took myself off of it, and I really started focusing on the alternative medicine route, what I could do to just help rebalance my hormones on my own and my emotions and my thoughts. And I did a lot of that through sustainability. I started gardening the first spring that my husband passed. My daughter helped me mostly by digging in the dirt and pulling everything out. But anyway, so I learned how to grow all of my own crops. And trust me, I'm not any better than I was 3 years ago. It's always trial and error every year, it seems. But yeah, through that, I learned how to grow the crops, and I learned how to cook the crops, and I, would eat it. Anyway, so, yeah, through the gardening and everything, I also, I'm self-taught in homesteading stuff, like canning. I do a lot of canning, mostly beans. I like to do beans in my pressure cooker. I don't like to buy canned beans, and just mostly because of cost. It costs twice as much to buy one can of bean as it does a whole pound of beans. At least it used to. I don't really pay attention now, but I don't really have to. But I like to can my own beans. It does take a while to cook them, so I like to prep and can. Also, processing meat is something I've really become interested in, and I do. I don't process anything from a live animal quite yet. I am interested in that. However, I just do mostly like fish and stuff that I buy from the store. I weigh it out and process it by prepping it to be frozen or canned. But yeah, a lot of the um, healing that's occurred within myself has mostly been due to my love for gardening and actually learning from school how it can be a form of meditation and healing. Garden can actually is actually a form of movement meditation, especially if you go barefoot. It helps you ground yourself with the earth. So I very often will garden barefoot. My daughter always goes, "Mommy, why are you not wearing shoes right now? Your feet are disgusting. They're dirty." And I go, I know, but um, this is really, it feels really good on my feet and it feels really good in my heart. So if you want to join me, you can. And of course, her being 4, she's gonna take her shoes off and get dirty with me. So it's always a good time. Yeah, anyways, so through my education, I think I probably already said I graduated from Purdue University online with my bachelor's in health and wellness, and I took a lot of classes that were based on alternative medicine. One specifically I remember, it was vitamin, herbs, and a minerals course. I loved this course. It really taught me from the vitamins, minerals, and herbs what is beneficial to us and for what. Like per se, ashwagandha is good for it's kind of like I don't want to call it a mood stabilizer, but something of that nature. It really helps those who struggle with anxiety. It's something I do take. And turmeric is really good with inflammation. I have developed like chronic inflammation. I don't know if it's arthritis from being in the Marine Corps or, just the stress I'm always under all the time. But turmeric is really good for that. A while back in November, I was diagnosed with gastritis. I was having a lot of issues and I thought I had ulcerative colitis. It was just so bad. But thankfully I don't. I just have gastritis, but it is still something I have to manage every day. And turmeric seems to be really helpful in that. My doctor, my gastroenterologist, prescribed me on Prevacid for a while, and my grandma ended up passing away from kidney disease due to taking Prevacid her whole life. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to take a medication to relieve something, but also develop something else. So that really turned me on to learning how to use these herbs, whether I get them, supplements in the store or I find them outside. It really taught me how to learn how to use them properly. Also, like for instance, dandelions. I don't use dandelion very often because dandelion is not very good for gastritis, but it's good for other digestive issues. For instance, the flowering portion, the yellow portion before it turns into those white, fun, frilly seeds that end up going everywhere. You can make like dandelion jelly, you can make dandelion tea. I've heard of people making dandelion wine out of that. The leaves themselves, you can put in salad. I don't like bitter greens, so I don't really use them very often or at all, but some do. My mom does. And as well as the root, you can make dandelion root tea out of the root. You can saute them, and they're pretty tasty. And also dead nettle. I forget what dead nettle is specifically good for, but I know you can make dead nettle pesto, just like basil pesto. You just need some dead nettle and some pine nuts, garlic, and olive oil, and there you go. You got a pesto. But yeah, I mean, I was home for 4 years and I didn't know what to do with myself other than cook. So I taught myself how to bake and cook, and I'm at that point where if my daughter sees something in the store that she really wants, I usually don't buy it, but I'll figure out how to make it because for one, it's just healthier to make food homemade. And two, it really helps with my mental health. I would definitely say the kitchen is where I'm most comfortable, and it's where I find where I have most stress relief. So that's what I choose to do. I process a lot of herbs and vegetables from my garden, and yeah, I process them and I cook them, and it feels so rewarding. I think the most rewarding part for me is, I don't want to sound conceited by any means, but when I can grow, various things in my garden and I cook a meal with them and my family loves it and it tastes good. I mean, how rewarding is that when you can cook a good meal that everybody in your family eats when you have kids? Like, that's almost impossible. um, but yeah, so to sum up, what my intentions are here at Portage Family Healing Center is to help the community see that sustainability is not as hard as it looks. I say that because I find, and that's what I found in the past, the things that I've seen in the grocery store that I want to buy, and I think, oh, I might be able to make that. And come to find out, it's cheaper and it's so easy. So, and through that, like, the whole process of the build up to the sustainability, like working in the garden to grow the crops and the process of processing all of those items, for me has been really like a meditative thing for me and a really healing thing. And I want to show the community that it's easier than most think it is, and that lifestyle is attainable. I also have other services at Portage Family Healing Center. I run a grief group every couple weeks. I would definitely look out on our website and Facebook for those dates. I also will be soon hosting a compost for kids class. This will be a class to show kids what we can and cannot compost in hopes that they'll start doing it at home. Those of you that don't know what compost is essentially kitchen scraps, lawn scraps, and it decomposes and turns into free dirt. I did that at my daughter's school a couple months ago, and they're 3, 4, 5, and they just loved it. So we'll be doing that shortly at Portage Family Healing Center, and I will also be hosting a garden class to show children and folks, their families, that how easy it is to plant things and watch them grow, and how satisfying it is to do that. I also, as a health and wellness coach there, I also provide services in self-sustainability, homesteading, vitamins, minerals and herbs education, nutrition education, grief and support, specifically PTSD. I wouldn't say I specialize in anything as of yet, but I am more familiar with extreme traumas and veterans who suffer from PTSD, like myself. So yeah, please, if you guys are interested in my services and any of my future support groups, please don't hesitate to register, and you're more than welcome to contact me if you have any questions about any of the services that I do provide here. And I hope I can see you all soon. Thank you.